EMTV has exclusive rights to broadcast OFC football matches. APEC high-level two-day meeting begins in Port Moresby. And survey reveals an increase of children suffering from tooth decay.
This is National MTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
This is Wednesday's news. It's good to have your company again. Telecom PNG and the Oceania Football Confederation announced today a partnership with MTV and FM 100 as the exclusive broadcasters in PNG of all OFC-sanctioned football matches for the next 3 years. This will allow media outlets to bring live and delayed coverage of all future OFC championships, OFC President's Cup, FIFA World Cup qualifiers, and many more. President of the OFC, David Chung, said this would assist the Confederation in achieving one of their aims to further develop and popularize football in the country.
The announcement was made here today at the Telecom headquarters in Port Moresby. Now, Chief Executive Officer of Media New Guinea Limited, Mr. Banu Sud, said MTV will be broadcasting through 5 platforms. Now, that comes in MTV Online, MTV Mobile, analog television and digital television by 2016. And of course, FM 100 will be broadcasting through their radio network.
MTV Mobile and MTV Digital Pay TV that we are going to start from January next year. So it's purely on our network at this exclusivity.
FM 100, as a subsidiary of Telecom PNG, will be broadcasting all matches live on radio to reach the wider population of Papua New Guinea.
Which this agreement brings to Papua New Guinea is very, very important. So through FM 100, through EMTV, the maximum number of people in Papua New Guinea, from the farthest reaches of the country to Port Moresby, get access to these top-line matches, and that is a precursor for the further development of the game.
The maximum coverage that both media outlets will provide will assist with the popularization of the sport, one of the OFC's visions.
In order to popularize the sports, we need to put footballs in TV, televisions, through all sorts of means.
Now, Mr. Chung also said there were further discussions in place regarding the broadcasting rights for all FIFA matches this year and in the coming years. Now, we can expect a few big announcements to come in the coming weeks.
We'll also be helping EMTV to push for FIFA, to give preference for coverage to EMTV through my recommendations. Hopefully the EMTV can have all the FIFA, to win all the FIFA rights and cover all the FIFA events in these countries. So that's part of our initiative as Oceania Football Confederation, and as a head of PNG Football, I think it's part of my role to make sure that football develops.
This year, the OFC Champions League in March kick-started the OFC calendar for 2015. After the Pacific Games, the OFC President's Cup will take place in August and will then lead into the Under-20 Women's Championships. Chung says in the interest of developing the code, he will push for Port Moresby to host more international matches in the future.
When I say international game, it's more to do with our national teams. I'm trying to negotiate with teams or try to organize a few nations or one-off nations or two countries tournaments. It depends on how I negotiate to come to Papua New Guinea because we have the facilities now.
Lorraine Genia, National MTV News.
And in the lead-up to the finale of the National Soccer League, Telecom PNG and the PNG Football Association have agreed to have MTV provide live coverage of the grand final inlay on the 23rd of this month. In a news conference today, Chief Executive Officer of Media New Guinea Limited, Banu Sud, and CEO of Telecom PNG, Michael Donnelly, confirmed these agreements with President of the PNG FA, David Chung.
Football Association have agreed to have EMT provide live coverage of the up-and-coming SNL Grand Final, and going forward, a separate announcement will be made before the start of next season relating to television coverage of all NSL matches. Football is the world game, and we are very happy to be participating on behalf of Papua New Guinea in bringing this very exciting sport to the men and women of Papua New Guinea. So thank you very much.
The two-day APEC high-level policy dialogue on human capacity building started today in the nation's capital. This is the first APEC high-level policy dialogue to take place here since it was announced that Papua New Guinea would host the APEC in 2018. Minister for National Planning Charles Abel welcomed the delegation, commending the forum for embracing the importance of human capacity building, which is vital in achieving regional prosperity. MTV's Deli Waigeno reports.
The two-day APEC high-level policy dialogue began this morning with thorough security checks and registration at the Laguna Hotel. Delegates came from all over Asia-Pacific countries, and media and translation booths were put up for effective communication. It was more or less a glimpse into how the APEC 2018 will be organized. Among the distinguished guests, Minister for National Planning Charles Abel was present on behalf of the Prime Minister, who was not there due to existing commitments. Mr. Abel said from a developing country's perspective, it was encouraging to see the way the APEC agenda has evolved from the base of free trade and investment to the broader issues that facilitate economic engagement.
Ladies and gentlemen, Papua New Guinea is indeed in a unique position in the Asia-Pacific. We provide a bridge between the Pacific Islands and the broader APEC community of economies.
He said through this policy dialogue and the broader work of the APEC Senior Officials Meeting Steering Committee on Economic and Technical Cooperation, PNG looks to gain knowledge and information on best practices and better ways to facilitate development.
As our economy prepares to host APEC in 2018, it is the desire of the Prime Minister and our government to see Papua New Guinea continue to engage and contribute to SCE. Working with our counterparts, we wish to advance initiatives that will strengthen human capacity building in our region.
Mr. Abel said issues to be discussed at the APEC dialogue involve making a difference to the lives of millions of people in the region. Deli Waigeno, National MTV News.
The APEC Business Advisory Council, chaired by Ms. Doris Magsaysay from the Philippines, also met today for the second day of the high-level policy dialogue. At a cocktail event last night, Ms. Magsaysay spoke exclusively to Business PNG's Leanne Jarari about the topics that will be discussed during the meeting.
Business and political leaders must do more to ensure no one is left behind as the Asia-Pacific region continues to grow. This is the key message from the APEC Business Advisory Council, otherwise known as ABAC. ABAC was created by the APEC economic leaders in November 1995 to provide advice on the implementation of the Osaka Action Agenda and on other specific business sector priorities between economies. Connectivity between Asia-Pacific has for so long eluded the region due to a number of factors such as barriers to trade and investment caused by infrastructure or policy. Connectivity between the economies was among the main discussion topics.
More and more, APEC is using the word connectivity. Basically, we talk about regional integration, but this idea of connectivity to me is a great vision. It's really talking about connecting institutions. It's talking about connecting physical connections, you know, things like logistics, like my business. And the third one is people-to-people connectivity. And I think when I come here, you really get impressed how it is really such a global place, because you have foreign people, people from the Philippines, from Australia, from other countries, India, working in your economy.
Ms. Magsaysay Ho also remarked that the vitality of small, medium and micro-sized enterprises is key to ensuring no one is left behind, as is the inclusion of women.
Our thrust this year and our focus is around the theme of inclusivity, inclusive growth. So the whole idea is, how do you now make all the policies that are being developed, all the initiatives that are being explored, all the cooperation that's being formed, how do you make it as relevant for the smaller businesses? Sure. Also, how do you include more women into the economy? How do you ensure that, that this whole idea of global trade can also be equally available to people with disabilities that don't have the same mobility as others? So it's a very exciting theme, I think. And what we hope to do this year is to come up with some very clear, actionable plans and also some deliverables.
ABAC will be developing recommendations to enhance SMMEs, access to ideas, markets, financing, technology, and entrepreneurial skills. Leanne Jarari, National MTV News.
East Sepik Provincial Governor, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, has been awarded Japan's highest honor, the Grand Cordon of the Rising Sun. In a statement, Sir Michael said he will travel to Japan this week to receive the honor, dedicating it to the people of East Sepik and Papua New Guinea for having faith in his leadership. Sir Michael's ties with the Japanese people began when he was just 10 years old in his village of Karau in East Sepik Province during World War II. As the founding father of the nation and the first Prime Minister, Sir Michael established diplomatic relations with Japan. The relationship continued into the future, with Japan becoming the foundation customer and trading partner for the PNG LNG gas import. He commended the government of Japan for the highest honor, which will be conferred upon him by His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor of Japan, this Friday. Papua New Guinea does not have a national research and innovative plan to guide its development agendas. Chairman of the Papua New Guinea Science and Technology Council Secretariat, Professor Mainatano, highlighted this during the National Research Agenda workshop today. He urged that emphasis must now be placed on research to contribute to a vibrant knowledge base.
The National Research Agenda workshop brought together the best brains to formulate a research and innovation plan for Papua New Guinea. Discussion centered on key priority areas of research that could drive the development agenda of the country. Professor Tehatulohi Matainaho indicated that focus on research has taken a slow progress in recent years.
Science and technology is key now in many countries. It's become a very important tool in economic planning, and the relationship and investment in science and technology, for instance, in science and research, and the contribution to the economy is immense.
He says PNG has a competitive edge given its abundance of resource, but there is lack of skills and technology to develop these resources, resulting in 90% of products and technology being imported. This places PNG largely as a consumer of innovation and not a creator of innovation.
The shops and things that we use today and we consume today, they're largely imported. We are predominantly importers of knowledge, importers of technologies, and that basically reflects that we are consumers of innovation.
Professor Tehatulohi believes this trend can be reversed if the country increases its knowledge base through research on key priority areas. The workshop ends tomorrow, and it is hoped an amicable outcome will be achieved by the PNG Science and Technology Council Secretariat and its stakeholders. Mickey Kavera, National MTV News.
Professor Matainaho says although there has been many research conducted, they were done by individual research organizations. This workshop is an avenue to align all research work. One hindrance faced by the Secretariat is the 5% allocated funding for research and development.
In an interview with MTV, Professor Tehatulohi Matainaho said research, science and technology is an integral part of development. The Secretariat is entitled to a 5% funding for research and development as stipulated in the government's Vision 2050. However, this is yet to be realized.
The process that we are now undertaking this week is endeavor to put in place a framework where we can now work within government to now target and to ensure that this is the framework and agenda which will require the government to then invest that 5% so that of the commitment as targeted in the Vision 2050.
He also brushed aside critics that so much money was spent on research but no results. Professor Matainaho clarified that the challenge faced by most research organizations is failing to demonstrate to explain how their studies can impact government policies and plans. Papua New Guinea, like other emerging economies, need to integrate science and technology in its economic planning and investment backed by government funding. This is a process of convincing and assuring the national government to have access to the 5% research and development funding parked in the national development budget. This funding has been captured in Vision 2050. Bridget Komatep, National EMTV News.
More children suffering from tooth decay, also illegal fuel sales and the celebrations to mark renovations at Daru Secondary School. Those stories and more coming up after the break. Good to have you back with the news. A survey conducted by the health department has recorded an increase in oral diseases reported to hospitals and clinics in Papua New Guinea. The report states that since 1995, more school-aged children are suffering from tooth decay and it's becoming a growing health concern. Over 56% of school-aged children in the NCDC area alone are exposed to oral diseases because of the lack of proper dental hygiene practiced by their parents.
While the statistics continue to rise, Colgate-Palmolive has joined hands with NCD Health Services and the Port Moresby General Hospital to promote good oral health culture amongst school-aged children. They launched the Mom You First campaign in Port Moresby today as a strategic approach to minimize tooth decay amongst children as young as 2 years old.
Over half the children in that survey had problems with their teeth.
The increase in oral health diseases is a combined result of children not using toothbrushes and the lack of knowledge on how to keep their mouths clean. 1,000 dental kits were donated by Colgate-Palmolive to pregnant mothers at Pomgen to pass on to their children. This year's campaign further targets children as young as 18 months and are still in maternal health care.
That's a big challenge for each one of us. Here we may be fortunate and privileged because we have access to some of those facilities that can give us the sort of support that we need.
The joint campaign on oral education is a step forward to ensure children brush their teeth with their mother's assistance and in the long run can do so independently.
We as mothers, to make sure our children have healthy, beautiful teeth, need to lead by example and brush our teeth correctly.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Chimbu Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Albert Delia has raised concerns about the illegal sale of diesel along the Chuave to Karawagi stretch of the Highlands Highway. His concern comes after surveillance done by members of the Highway Patrol showed an increasing number of stalls selling dirty fuel. Superintendent Delia says highway truck drivers are conspiring with people along the highway and stealing fuel from their company fleet to resell. He explains that the fuel is often contaminated with water, causing accidents on the highway. National Polytechnic Institute Director Graham Bidang says he will remain neutral during an ongoing student protest on the site of the institute. His unbiased stance follows demonstrations that saw frustrated students burn tires outside of the institute's gates in the early hours of Saturday night. Mr. Bidang says the students' actions show that they want changes at Polytech.
Student frustrations have built up following the long wait to see maintenance work carried out on infrastructures at the National Polytechnic Institute. Following the week-long boycott, a demonstration that happened on the early hours of Saturday saw frustrated students showing their dissatisfaction over the delay by the administration.
The demonstration took place at around 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning.
In addressing their concerns, bonfires that raged from 2 a.m. till 6 in the morning on Saturday and the campus main gates blocked off passing vehicles. Today, the remains of the incident in front of the institute's entrance still lies fresh. The gate is being monitored by a group of students to ensure that other DODL and APTC students do not access the campus facilities. SRC President Gary Gumembi says the students will not settle for classes until they see their facilities repaired.
There wasn't a clear time frame given, and it took them, they have allocated 300,000 for this crisis. They call it a crisis, and they have come up with crisis committee, but it took them, I don't know if the 300,000 is actually, there's some money in there or this is just a figure, but this 300,000 came up for Thursday and Friday, nothing happened.
The boycott has now dragged into its 12th day. As the students continue to maintain their stand in boycotting classes, the main gates leading into the campus have also remained closed. Colleen Barilai, National MTV News, Leh.
Teachers and students at Darus Secondary School celebrated the reopening of new renovated classrooms on Friday after the classrooms were officially opened by the Governor for Western Province, Ati Wabiro. A total of 7 million kina was spent on upgrading the rundown facilities from classroom to dormitories, students' mass hall, fencing and teachers' houses. Teachers say with the renovations completed, the students' behaviour is also improving as well as their academic standards. EMTV's Godwineke reports.
After being neglected for so many years, Darus Secondary School in the Western Province is now beginning to change as great improvements are taking place at the school. Late last week, the school saw the handover of its newly renovated classrooms, student dormitories, home economic building, library, mess hall and teachers' houses through the assistance of the Fly River Provincial Government. Principal for Darus Secondary, Guido Ludu, said things are beginning to change, especially the students' behavior, which have changed rapidly since the establishment of the new facilities at the school. Not only, he said, students are also beginning to perform better academically.
Firstly, the mindset has changed because of the new type, new look of the buildings, and they have taken more responsibility. Well, this year we're talking about standards like what our manager said, standards and everything.
Governor Ati Wabiro also promised to provide computers to the school so that students can start to improve on their computer skills.
Unfortunately, we were able to find some money in the provincial government budget, which we used to develop and improve some facilities here. And now we are here to formally hand over some classrooms and other buildings that we have renovated, again through the Fly River Provincial Government budget.
The classrooms were officially handed over to the principal of Darus Secondary by the Governor for Western Province, Ati Wabiro, and the Provincial Administrator, Dr. Modoa Gumoy. Godwin Eki, National MTV News.
27 employees of Interoil graduated recently with certificates in financial literacy on savings and budgeting. Facilitated by Bank South Pacific, Banking Education Officer Vani Vani said there is a need for many Papua New Guineans to be financially literate. Participants said the financial literacy program has enlightened them on how to better manage their finances and help improve their lifestyles. BSP is working in partnership with the Bank of Papua New Guinea's Microfinance Expansion Project to deliver training on modules in savings, budgeting and mobile money. And now we check out the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3705 US in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, our kina was fetching $0.363 US, 0.4547 Australian dollars, 0.3206 euro, and 43.1 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day higher, while gold closed the day lower. Palm oil and copper closed higher, while crude oil closed the day lower. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 142 points lower, the ASX closed at 131 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 123 points lower as well. Well, National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back to National MTV News. The main Warrangoy Bridge leading into Pomio District in East New Britain collapsed early this morning following yesterday's 7.5 magnitude earthquake. The bridge is the main link connecting Pomio District with provincial capital, Kokopo. The entire population of Pomio is now cut off. Their access into either side now depends on the flood level. The engineers from the Provincial Works Department assessed the damage this afternoon. Maintenance work is expected to begin tomorrow, plus the rain is continuing. The autonomous region of Bougainville has been the chosen spot for the Pacific Partnership 2015 program. The United States' largest medical ship, Mercy, has been engaged to provide life-saving surgeries and healthcare. MTV's Fabian Hakelitz spoke to the United States Pacific Fleet team.
United States International Hospital ship Mercy will visit the autonomous region of Bougainville under the Pacific Partnership 2015 operational humanitarian missions. Recently, United States Pacific Fleet medical team led by Dr. William Aden visited the autonomous region and surveyed potential areas for U.S. assistance, identified sites at Arawa and Buka. According to Dr. Aden, their primary mission is to provide humanitarian aid and disaster relief. Activities range from medical, dental, veterinarian care to construction projects and crisis response training.
We have 11 operating rooms. We have a casualty receiving, which is where we do a lot of our internal medicine with physicians. We have 1,000 hospital beds on board the ship. We have a dental clinic. We have an optometry clinic. We also have interventional radiology. We have other types of radiology, including a CT scanner. So our capability is pretty much what any major hospital facility could provide.
Local health workers will work alongside 12,000 medical experts from the United States to enhance capacity.
Doing some teaching and training on things like infection control, wound care, pain management, and of course we American nurses expect to learn quite a bit from the Bougainville nurses as well.
One of the good points is that a lot of the locals, how willing the locals are willing to work with us and helping us with logistics, the supplies, and everything we need to make this mission successful.
We'll be able to provide those surgeries at the same level of professionalism and sterility and so forth that we can perform in the United States.
Something new is a veterinarian clinic for animals to diagnose and prevent diseases.
Land that's here, a lot of people have the opportunity to own small animals, including pigs and some dogs and cats here and there, and I think that they're doing a good job, and we can just offer some tips to help improve the health of the animals to help improve the economy.
The program will be a great opportunity to expand people-to-people ties with the United States and deliver benefits for the people of Bougainville. Consultations are now open in Arawa Health Center and Bukajiril Hospital. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
Turning overseas now, hunger and delayed access to relief supplies are the main issues facing many affected Nepalese after a 7.8 magnitude quake pounded the country less than 2 weeks ago. Landslides and avalanches have hampered road access, encouraging more airborne supply into remote areas. With rescue efforts continuing to retrieve bodies from the debris, the body count is now over 7,500. The United States have sent their cargo aircraft to Nepal to improve cargo capacity at the Kathmandu airport.
Well, obviously, one airport creates a limited throughput, so our job is to reduce the limit or reduce the effect of that limit on the throughput coming through here. So we've got the ability to help offload aircraft quicker, to integrate with the Nepalese government, and hopefully accelerate the amount of aid that comes in through this airport.
Meanwhile, the United Nations says 8 million of Nepal's 28 million people have been affected by the quake, with vital relief supplies expected to continue over the next 3 months. Well, Toya whistled to compete in the Oceania Championships this weekend. I'll bring you all the details in Trukai Sports coming up next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Sprint queen Toya Whistle will compete at this week's Oceania Championships in Cairns, one of her final meets ahead of July's Pacific Games. Toya will travel to Cairns tomorrow with 38 other athletes in the PNG team that's expected to be a strong team on the track. Held every year, the Oceania Area Championship is an athletics event run by the Oceania Athletics Association. Toya is currently ranked #1 in the Oceania region in the 100-meter and in the 200-meter. Ahead of this weekend's event, she has been nominated for the 100-meter, the 200-meter, 400 meter and will compete in the 4x100 and the 4x400 relays with her fellow sprinters. With the success achieved by the Barramundis, Garamuts and Lewas last year, our cricketers remain positive in their preparations. Although the construction of the Amini Park has left them without a pitch to train on, coaching and management staff have improvised their training regime to accommodate for player fitness. MTV's Elijah Levet has more in this report.
The Barramundis have been in preparation for the T20 World Cup qualifiers over the last 3 months.
The workload we've done in the past 3 months and still are working on preparations to T20 World Cup qualifiers. Everyone's keen, can't wait to get there, but like I said, we are taking each day as it comes and working hard on whatever is laid on the table for us.
Although preparations are slow, they are utilizing all avenues with what has been planned.
Currently, we're just focusing on skill and SNC. So it's a cricket match, but at the end, fitness counts and all those stuff counts. So before we leave, we're trying to put everything into order before we leave. Yeah.
Training has been difficult as facilities have become an issue to many sporting codes. Cricket PNG have resorted to conducting most of their training in the cricket nets, with coaching staff improvising on skills work and fitness.
Fortunately, we're restricted to one type of training, which is in the indoor nets, when particularly where the fitness and the skills programs are, we needed to be outdoors. So we've had to improvise. We give them game scenarios when we train. We put them under pressure.
Self-motivation has become a vital area for cricketers to work on as part of their training and prepare. Elijah Levitt, National MTV Sports.
And in snooker, the Port Moresby Corporate Snooker Competition enters round 8 this week. An increase in the number of players competing in the recent Port Moresby Snooker Open titles indicates the spur of interest in the nation's capital and sees the emergence of young talent and the rise of new champions. Lamana's Q Club houses 3 snooker tables and is the 3rd venue for the competition.
In round 8 of the Port Moresby Corporate Snooker Competition, the race for the title is heating up. Last year's champions Lamana 2 have steered clear in the A-grade division with 27 points. 6 teams have registered for the A and C grade division respectively, and 8 teams for the B grade division.
The corporate comp, we've got 3 divisions. We've got A grade, B grade and C grade. And in the A grade we actually have 6 teams.
In the A-grade challenge last night, defending champions Lamana 2 went down to Starland Laguna Dragons Originals 5 points to 2. The sport is slowly gaining popularity in the nation's capital, with the emergence of young talents such as Myria David, the 2014 runner-up in the Port Moresby Handicap Challenge from Lamana 2. Despite going down 2 frames to 1 against Dragons Roger Ning on table 1, 2015 Port Moresby Snooker Open Titles champion Ralph Kiner's recent success was no easy win in the sport of snooker.
It's been tough playing snooker, especially when you haven't won any titles and you try very hard. But now that I've realized that you don't have to try very hard to win a game, win a big competition. It's all about being in control. Concentrating hard and staying focused.
Lamana's Q Club becomes the 3rd venue to host the snooker and pool competition in Port Moresby. Round 9 is set for next week with Lamana 2, Pacific MMI Bullets 2 and Lamana Hotel Famagusta currently sitting at the top of the table in the respective A, B and C grade divisions. Scholar Sengi, National MTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues with more sporting action after these short messages. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Good to have you back with Trukai Sports. The Bougainville Rugby Football Union is hosting the Community Rugby Festival this month. The 2-day event will kick off on the 15th and is in preparation for the 2015 Bougainville Rugby Union season. MTV's Fabian Hakelitz reports.
Trials for the Bougainville Rugby Football Union have begun before the 2015 season kicks off. In an interview with BRFU Rugby Development Manager and Black Orchid coach Kelly Havara before the Rugby Festival trials are hosted to determine number of teams competing in the competition. This year's season increase in the number of teams in both under 19 and Premier Division.
This year we're looking at increasing the numbers to 12 or 14 teams. We have a lot more interest in other communities and some more new teams coming up. So this year we'll be looking at increasing our number of teams.
The Rugby Festival is a community-based concept, a platform to promote the code and raise awareness on issues affecting societies. It's conducted in constituencies with the partnership and support of non-government organizations, including government entities like police and health.
We bring rugby to communities and also invite them to do awareness in each communities. So it's a community-based concept which we introduced last year, and this year we're starting it again.
The Community Rugby Festival kicks off on May 15 and ends on 16. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV Sports.
Well, True Guy Sports ends on that note. The weather details for the next 24 hours after this break. Stay tuned.
Guy Sports. True Kai Sports.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, Port Moresby and Karama to look forward to cloudy weather with rain periods, cloudy periods with squally rain showers in Alotau, brief evening showers in Poponeta, cloudy weather with periods and chances of showers developing over Daru. In Momase, a shower or two expected in Lae City, late evening showers for Madang and a few showers in Wewak and Vanimore. In the New Guinea Islands, showers plus rain in Kavieng, squally showers in Kimbe, showers plus thunderstorms expected in Lorengau, and a few showers in Kokopo and Buka. And lastly, in the Highlands region, Goroka and Kundiawa to look forward to brief showers, then morning fog, mostly fine, then morning fog in Mendi and Wabe. Looking at forecasts for small ships, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, Karama, Yule Island through to Hood Point at Samurai Island, seas of 1 meter to 2 meters, waters of Samurai Island through to Cape Bogle, Finschhafen, including Vitia Strait, Siasi Islands through to Long Islands, eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 1.5 meters to 2.5 meters, waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 meters to 1.3 meters, and waters of New Ireland to East New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And lastly, ocean forecast for PNG areas, Coral Sea sees slight to moderate with southeast winds at 10 to 20 knots. Solomon Sea sees rather rough with southeast winds at 15 to 25 knots. Bismarck Sea sees slight to moderate with southeast to southwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. And lastly, Pacific Ocean sees slight with southwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. Now before we go, quickly recapping our top headlines again tonight. MTV has exclusive rights to broadcast OFC football matches. Also, APEC high-level two-day meeting begins in Port Moresby, and survey reveals an increase in the amount of children suffering from tooth decay. Well, that's how we wrap up another bulletin. From the news team, I'm Tokana Hasavi. As always, thanks heaps for your company. Take care and stay safe. Good night.